Hey, all, this is David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be talking about dark vision. Very specific topic, very specific video. I don't know if that'll make it a short video or not, but this is a kind of a pet peeve of mine with Pathfinder specifically. It doesn't seem to come up in any other setting or system I can think of, but with Pathfinder it's quite bad. And that is giving so many characters such easy access to dark vision or low light vision or infrared vision or any kind of vision power, life vision, death vision. That's right, I had a character with death vision. He caused all the same problems as someone with dark vision, perhaps more. This extends also to X-ray vision, true sight. See invisibility, anything like this. So, first off, I'll describe a scene that I love. And the scene that I love is the dungeon crawl. Dungeon crawl is done right. And I'm going to do a video on that as well. Perhaps I'll mention dark vision in it. And thus be redundant and repetitive, which will help you to learn. But I love dungeon crawls. You know, if I think about the video game, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and you have a torch in your left hand casting torch-like lighting. And think about the last time you were at a campfire. Think about how much light actually comes off of fire. And you'll realize that a single burning stick in your hand is not shedding a lot of light at all. So you walk in to a narrow cave, and there's crags on the walls, fissures, puddles of water on the floor, which can reflect light eerily. There are stalagmites and stalactites, providing all these texture and obstacles in your way, and you can only see like 3 feet ahead of you. So you got your torch there in your left hand, perhaps shaking with fear. In your right hand you have an axe, and you're walking through this uneven footing, and you don't know what's going to jump out at you, or when, or even if. Maybe nothing at all will jump out at you, but that could be the most terrifying of all. Or maybe there are traps set by kobolds, although I hate kobolds. Let's use them because you're probably familiar with kobolds. And if you're not, I'll give you 10 experience points, because good job associating with the right kind of people and not kobolds. So I love this scene. Here's another scene that I love. Sneaking into a compound or escaping out of a compound, be that a prison, a castle, a temple, a warehouse, whatever. So there are guards around, they have torches, perhaps the moon is full, shining down on the courtyard to look around corners. You don't know when a guard has gone inside a building if he's going to come back out, or when. You have to scuttle across the courtyard, exposing yourself in the moonlight briefly. That's a great scene as well. So much tension. If the alarm is raised at the wrong time, that's it for you. You're not getting in, or you're not getting out, or both. You're not getting in the way you want, and you're never coming out. These are, two great scenes. I'm sure there are many others, and infinite variations on these two scenes. They're both ruined by dark vision. How much drama can you get out of that same cave when you have complete and perfect illumination in it? Or dark vision. You can see every stalagmite, every stalactite. You can see the water. It doesn't reflect firelight in a way that startles you. So you can see, the kobold's hiding against the wall because he's not actually in shadow, because you see through shadows. Or if it's infravision, you can just see his body heat. If it's life vision, that's even easier than infravision to see him. So you've ruined this great dramatic scene, and so you basically ruined half of the fun of any dungeon crawl. For me, from my games, you've ruined half of it. Especially hiding. Like, you've ruined not only the ambiance and the drama of that, but you've ruined the lurking, hiding, ambush type monsters as well. In Legends of the Seven Sands, just in our second session, they're coming down into these sand-filled ruins, and Josh Pullman had death vision so he could see the undead. And of course the ruins are filled with undead. There's mummies all over the place. And they're lurking in piles of sand. What a great hiding place for undead. Under the sand, they don't need to breathe. They don't need to move until you walk right over them, and then they spring up out of the sand, or just their hand reaches out and grabs you. So many cool scenes. I had at least four different scenes with lurking undead that were going to spring out in different ways. And Josh walks in and he's like, "Oh no, I have death vision," and I'm just like, "Oh well, there's mummies in that sand, and there's mummies behind that rock and behind that wall, and there's mummies in the silt there as well." And he's just like, "Excellent. I command undead and just take control of them." And, I'm thinking to myself, he just ruined 4 scenes, 4 cool scenes of drama, shock, and surprise, and 4 combat scenes. They're 2-for-1 scenes, and he ruined both of the elements with his Dread Necromancer character. And this was only like our second session, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm going to have to deal with death vision for the whole campaign. I have no dungeon crawls. I have no ambushes. You will never see a dungeon crawl or an ambush in this whole campaign, because he can see through each of those. I mean, you might see them, they might actually attempt to happen, but they can't actually happen in a dramatic way. And I'm just, I was just like, as a GM, I'm like devastated, because you've taken these tools out of my arsenal, and I'm like, wow, what am I going to do? So that's why I have problems with, death vision is more severe, or life vision would be more severe. In this case, it was like life and death vision. It was really weird. He couldn't see golems, though, so I threw some golems at him. So I did get one little ambush scene at some point. But the same can be said of dark vision. It's not as bad as complete life and death vision, but it's still really bad. You ruin the ambiance, and you ruin all these surprises. And that sneaking infiltration scene, the stealth scene, that's when X-ray vision or life vision or death vision can ruin that, because you know exactly where all the guards are at all times. It's like playing a video game with a cheat code on. And I have no problem with like a wizard, especially like a celestial mage or a diviner, having access to that, because that's his whole gimmick, is, oh, I can do this and no one else can. That's why I'm cool. I'm cool because I can, if I think ahead, I could potentially, maybe, foil some of these scenes. And that's cool. That is cool. That's great. But to just be able to foil these scenes because you're a dwarf or an elf, like, that could be a lot of players. And for elf, it doesn't even make that much sense. The little light vision, it can cause a lot of problems, and I don't really know that elves need low light vision on them for what it costs you dramatically. are you deriving enough benefit from it? Flavorfully? I don't think so. I drop it down so elves have no night vision beyond humans, and then dwarfs have low light vision, but not dark vision. And I reserve dark vision for goblins, which you might call hobgoblins, but that's a racial slur. For shame on you, calling those noble goblins goblins of Hobb's goblins. We all know who old Hob is. So this big pet peeve of mine, a gaming bugbear, as John Large would say. This is my first gaming bugbear video, if you look at it like that. If you go over to his channel, the Red Dice Diaries, he's got about 50 gaming bugbears. There's a lot of stuff pisses him off. See, I'm a nice guy. I don't get pissed off about that many things. Contrary to what some of you may believe, maybe talking slander towards me. So consider very strongly, both as a player and a GM. As a GM, say, do I want to allow dark vision? What could it cost me? And as a player, look at it like the same way. Do I want to take on dark vision? What could it cost me? Maybe I want to be a dwarf wandering around with a war pick and a torch, scared shitless, and I throw the pickaxe into somebody's head when they startle me. And maybe they weren't even a bad guy, they just startled me. You know, as a peace-loving Darrow in the Underdark. Because you've ruined this scene where you could show your character's fear, and thus his courage. Or you could show his stealth skills as a rogue so much better than if he had like life vision, or like the goggles of life vision, or whatever. Because obviously it takes more skill to sneak past someone when you can't see them than it does to sneak past them when you can see them at all times, through the walls. So you can really show your stealth off better if you have these handicaps in place for yourself. Instead of this crutch that, you know, it's not really you that's skilled, it's just, you just happen to be an elf. And so, and so you can get flavor out of that. You can be like, oh yes, my elven eyes. And you can really push the elven heritage angle. But think about it before, do you want to or not? Some elves, maybe not. I played an elf who had no useful elven senses, and I made it one of his character traits that he would brag that he did when he clearly did not. And it really played up his braggadociousness and made the character more interesting. So that's going to be my video on dark vision. And I'm going to sign out now. I have no parting words for you except, as always, have a nice day.